and this is Studio 56, and today we're going to be hosting a free demo with the lovely and the amazing Koosje Koene. If you're new to Studio 56, welcome. Studio 56 hosts free demos like this one and artist interviews that you will find on our YouTube channel called Studio 56 for Creatives. We also produce online workshops for artists, and we organize in-person vacation workshops for artists in gorgeous locations all around the world. So welcome everyone. Let me tell you a bit about our artist today, Koosje Koene. Koosje is a Netherlands-based artist who began teaching online in 2013. And since then, she's taught tens of thousands of people all over the world how to create a daily drawing habit and to live a more creative life. She's the creator of Draw Tip Tuesday, a weekly YouTube series of over 300 drawing videos, and the co-founder of Sketchbookskool, a global art making community, and she's the author of Life is Better When You Draw It. Whether she's at home in the Netherlands with her musician husband or off on an adventure, Koosje always has a sketchbook in hand. So you can learn more about Koosje at koosjekoene.com. It's spelled KOOSJEKOENE.com. So let's welcome Koosje into the call. Hello, Koosje. There she is.
Hi.
Good to see you.
I'm so happy the way you are spelling my name and saying my name.
Oh, good. I have messed up people's names before, so I try.
I do that too. And I'm super happy to see all these participants here. I see quite a few familiar names there. Some of my patrons are in there, and so a few people that I actually also went on a trip with. So yay!
Hey, oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So we're the demo that you're going to be doing today is from a photo that was that I took in Malta, in Valletta, Malta. Of the Victoria Gate, and we've chosen, or you've chosen this reference photo because we're going to be traveling there in November. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to be there in November for a vacation workshop. And we have a few tickets available if anyone's interested. It's going to be super, super fun. Malta is a gorgeous, sunny little island off the coast of Italy. It has a long history dating back 4000 BC. We're going to tour around and sketch Valletta, the capital city, and the whole island. We're going to take a harbor cruise. We're going to visit a fishing village, which the name of which neither one of us can pronounce.
We're slugs.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of X's. Like I don't think there's another word in the English language anyway that has two X's. And we're going to visit an archaeology museum, and we're going to visit the walled medieval villages of Rabat and Medina. And Koosje is going to deliver five half-day workshops every morning. It's going to be so fun. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am so excited. I just, even you listing this whole thing, I'm like, wait, what? Am I doing this? Is this a trip I am doing? Yes. It sounds so amazing. And I mean, the Mediterranean, yeah. that is all you need to tell me. And I'm like, yes, let's go. Yeah. And
November.
Beautiful. Yes, exactly. It's like so starting to get gloomy here in the Netherlands then, so it's a good escape. And the thing about teaching in a place like that is that there's not only like the workshops, but all the time around it there will be drawing, because that's what we came for. So I'm very excited to be in a group of artists that are willing to step out of their comfort zones and to really learn and to just draw a lot and play and experiment in their sketchbooks. So and then in Malta.
I know.
I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I was there last April, a year ago, checking it out, and I went all around the whole island, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's like a little jewel box island right off the toe of Italy. And it has a really long history, including it's mentioned in the Bible. St. Paul shipwrecked off the coast of Malta. And so the tour bus that I was taking pointed out and said, that's where St. Paul, the apostle from the Bible, got shipwrecked. I'm like, wow, okay, I've really stepped back into Bible times here, you know. And then also the island has got a really interesting architecture there, because it was taken over so many times by so many different countries, different groups that came and took over, and they, you know, lots of battles and so on. And as a result, we were left behind with this really interesting architecture that's all different from all these, so many influences, you know. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting, really fun, really interesting. I love stuff like that has like a long history, you know. I find that really interesting. So
it is really interesting. And I think all these things that you learn along the way when you're there, it's so great to record it in your sketchbook, make little notes, you know, next to your drawings, and it will become such a valuable memory and souvenir. You don't need to buy magnets for your fridge, you have your sketchbook.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and these sketches are like in the context of an actual place.
Yeah,
that I think is just makes it just the story so much richer than just a random, you know, photo or something. So
right.
Anyway, so we can get started right away. So can you tell us a little bit about the sketch that they're going to be doing?
Yeah, so, well, I kept going back to that Victoria Gate photo. Somehow it's just, I gravitate towards it, and I can't wait to actually sit there for real.
Yeah.
To draw it. And I chose a very fun way to capture a place, to capture architecture that might be very overwhelming. And people who know me from YouTube, they will have seen this this technique come by a few times. It is putting down your color first and then drawing on top. It makes for, you actually create a guide of color for yourself, so you're not as scared as you might be when you have a blank page and you're like, okay, this is a beautiful gate, which is like, I don't know from how many years ago, and I don't know where to start. So you just sloppy, you slap down your color and then you start drawing. It feels safer and it is really fun, and it gives a very lively vibe to it. So
yeah,
a
lot of energy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it just occurs to me as you're talking, I don't remember this, but does the paint dry in between there, or do we need to pause?
The paint does dry in between, and I think it is actually drying on one side while I'm working on the other side. So you should be able to just, it depends a little bit where you are.
Yeah.
If the air is dry or not. So yeah.
Yeah, I just sorry, it just occurred to me. I watched the whole thing, and I don't remember if you paused at the
I don't think I paused.
No.
I don't think I paused. I just worked on it, and
You're like a sketching superhero. You just can make it dry.
I'm like,
yeah, it's dry. Okay, we're ready to go on. Wow, superpowers.
Yes.
Okay, so so people should probably not like get really wet on the paper. They should.
Yes, that is one of the things about, so I'm using watercolor, but you can also use these markers, the eco line markers. They are really great for bright colors, and they dry right away. And one of the things that people often do with watercolors is use a lot of water, so you have like a little bit of a watery wash that isn't too bright, but instead use a lot of pigment, then it will dry quicker and it will be more vibrant. So yeah, for both of these benefits, I would say don't use too much water.
Okay. And our friend Ken, hi Ken.
Yes.
Who has traveled with me several times, and he's a hoot and he's a joy, has just pointed out that yes, there are other words with two X's. Anti-vaxxer is one, and dox, which means to publish personal information about someone on the internet.
Okay. Thank you, Kenneth. Also, Leah is saying yay, and that's because I said there were a few people who took a trip with me already, and Leah is one of them. Leah, you went to Greece with me, so maybe this is actually the place for you too. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying, that'd be super fun, super fun. Have only a handful of tickets left, so would love it if people would join. All right, so I think we're ready to get going, and so the demo is about half an hour, because Koosje is a superhero and she's really fast, and so yeah, I know it just it's dry. So we will come back at the end of the demo. We'll just let it run through. So everyone should have their papers, their watercolor. And what are you using for a pen?
I think, I can't remember. I think I actually say it at the beginning of the video. So okay. Yeah, sorry.
I can't remember. Well, I think it was written down. There was a materials list. So people should know already. So
it might be a fountain pen, or it might be rollerball pen like this one. So anyway, a black pen.
I think it's that one. Okay, well, let's get started, and we'll see you back here in half an hour. Good luck, everyone. Have fun.
Have fun.
Okay, let me quickly first go through my materials. We are drawing on location in Malta. So if I go on location, I like to keep it very simple. So what I am bringing today is my sketchbook, and I will be using my watercolors. These are all Daniel Smith watercolors. I filled these pans with tubes, and I like using these water brushes. This is a Pentel Aquash water brush, and basically it has the water here in its handle, and when you push a little bit, then the brush gets fed with water, which is fantastic on location. So you don't need to carry around water bottles and stuff like that. I do know that when you use watercolors, it can actually be better to use a real brush, because this is synthetic and not so great. But I just don't use that on location. To me, it's too fiddly. I want to be able to put something in my pocket so I can grab the next thing, and I just really want to feel very mobile. So this to me is a perfect tool for using watercolors, and I love using my watercolors in combination with pen. This is a Uniball eye with a broad nib. This is a rollerball pen, and I absolutely love these pens because the ink flows really well. It feels a little bit like you're working with a fountain pen, but it's easier and very accessible. So I always recommend this pen to people when they are ready to move on to a pen with nice and flowy ink. I definitely prefer this much more above fine liners, which are often scratchy and too thin. I prefer the broad version, which has like a little bit of a thicker tip, and that is because I like bold lines. So this is what I'll use. I always have like paper tissue with me to wipe off my water brush when I'm using watercolors. And the Uniball eye has waterproof ink in it, so you can easily combine it with watercolors. Today's sketchbook is a Stillman and Burn Beta Series sketchbook. Here's some more info about it. It's mixed media paper. It's nice and thick, and it has a little bit of texture, but not too much, just the way I like it. So this is what I'll be using for today's demo, and we will be going to Victoria Gate in Malta, and you are super overwhelmed because, well, you are in a new place. You have all these new experiences and all these new impressions, and yeah, where to even start? So Brenda brings us to Victoria Gate. We walk there and it's nice and sunny. We find a spot, and then what's next? How do you start? Well, I have a fantastic trick for this, and we will definitely do this in Malta as well. And I would really like to do this right now. The trick is to not start with pen, but you will actually start by making big gestures with color, and then you add line on top, which means that you will actually create like a sort of a guide for yourself using color. And of course, you can be very accurate with your color or very precise with the colors that you see, but hey, this is a drawing, so you can actually really do whatever you like to do. So I am going to start with a little bit of a mix, or maybe I'll just start with, let's see, this color is a quinacridone gold, and I feel like when I'll be in Malta, I might actually just use a lot of this because it's so nice and bright, and yeah, I think that matches the feeling and the vibe of Malta. So what I'm doing here is just really quickly putting down, without thinking too much, this basic main shape that I see of the gate, Victoria Gate, but also a little bit of what's around it. And I'm not going to go into detail or anything. I just might add, I don't know, I'm just going to add a little bit of red there, just to create some excitement. And to be honest, I don't know exactly what I'm doing just yet. And that is actually really the exciting part about all of it. What I'm also looking at is, okay, so I have this big yellow shape with a little bit of orange in there. That is basically the Victoria Gate, the building. But is there anything else that I see that matches this color? And actually, I see these stripes on the street. So I'm adding those two. Yeah, and that touches there. And maybe I could actually also, now that I've done that, I'm wiping off my brush, and I will mix a light gray by mixing Van Dyke brown and indigo. And I'm adding quite a bit of water from that handle of my water brush, just so it's not too dark. And if the colors are bleeding, I don't mind. That's just part of this whole fun endeavor too. Like, how far can you go, and what problems can you create for yourself and then solve? I mean, that is really just the fun of drawing, right? That you are creating or actually solving creative problems all the time. Okay, hang on, I need to fiddle with my camera here for just a tiny bit. Okay, and yeah, so I have my big shape here, I have a big shape here. I think I need a big blue shape over here as well, which will be the sky. And of course, this approach is not like the overall approach to capture a scene. This is just one of the many ways you can do this. Good. I think I am quite ready for line on top. However, this hasn't dried yet, so we'll have to just wait for a second until it has dried. Of course, when we're in Malta, this will dry very quickly because it's warmer there and the weather will be really, really nice. I am so looking forward to this. Okay, so what is important when you are drawing on location, when you are travel sketchbooking and you want to capture a place, then think about what you want to talk about, what your story is about this place. So if you would sit here and you would call a friend, how would you describe it? You can do that in words, but now describe it in your sketchbook. So I think that's important to keep in mind. What's the story that you want to tell? And how much of it do you want to tell? Maybe it's just a small bit, you know, you can zoom in and you can talk about just that little gate there, or you can talk about the people that walk there. It's really up to you, and that's the fun thing about this. When we would sit here all together, every single one of us will come up with a completely different drawing, because we have different approaches, but we also have different views and we have different points of views and we have a different story. Okay, this is sort of damp, but I am just going to go for it. I think I'll just boldly start with that gate and then add details wherever I need them. And I'm not going to go into much detail of that gate. Let's just start with the main thing, because you can actually go through this and then get into the city or something. I'm not sure yet. I haven't been yet. We'll have to see. Okay, so what I am basically doing is not even trying to be too accurate, but really looking at, okay, what do I see there? I see some really dark shapes there, which is like the sort of tunnel in there. And then there's a door on the right, and there's also a door on the left. And I love that there are people in this photo, so I'm definitely going to add those in, but they are tiny on the photo, so I can also just really do this like super tiny and not really go into detail. It's really about the suggestion of people walking here. And there's also a car. I might just tackle that in a bit. First I want to just sort of circle around here to capture this building, this place. And actually this might also already be too large of a shape to for the proportions, but it's a drawing. So let's not be too accurate, and let's not be too nitpicky about it. Is that even a word? It is now. So I really like how this pen flows onto the paper. Okay, that's enough for now. I mean, there's all these stripes, all these lines. I'm not sure if I want to really draw all of that. First, I want to just really have the bigger shapes in order to then decide what else should be included. So there's these. I don't even know the words for this. And the great thing is about drawing is you don't need words, because you have line and shape and color to describe the place. And that's so exciting. And this is quite small, I have to say. I would prefer to work in a bit of a bigger sketchbook if I would be here live, and that's because well, this is quite a big scene, so if you try to put everything in your sketchbook, then yeah, you run into trouble because, well, you have to draw small. And with a broad tip that I prefer and that I chose, that's not easy. So yeah. Okay, so I now sort of have the basics of that bottom part of the building, of the gate, and I am moving on to, let's see how to do this. And of course, if you have a smaller sketchbook, then you might take it might take less time to do a drawing like this, and that's also, of course, why I chose this sketchbook for today, because, well, we're here online and I don't want to take like hours, but usually doing a drawing like this, you can pretty much do it in like half an hour, depending on your speed. But what I like about this particular approach of painting first is that you let go of trying to draw a certain place very accurately. You use color to slap down the biggest shape, and then you allow yourself to just sort of play on top. This is also really, really fun using colored pencils. So yeah, that might be something that we will do when we're in Malta. But I just wanted to show you like big gestural, the big idea, let's say that, the overall idea, when you are using a minimum of things, of tools. Because this is a drawing, I can't quite see what's what. Sorry, because it's a photo. Usually when you are sitting on location, you can just move a little bit to see what's in the background and then to decide if you want to include it or not. But with this photo, there's kind of an overlap, and there's actually also a building behind this sculpture here. And I actually drew that building, or painted that building too, so I'm just going to add that. Why not? Because it's there, it makes sense. And when you do this, I forgot to say that when I was painting that first part, it really helps to filter out the idea of capturing the right, not the proportions, but the perspective. Because you're just looking at the big shape, and by drawing or painting that big shape, you're actually also capturing the perspective lines without really thinking about them, because you're not thinking in line just yet. Okay, I think this might be enough for the background. Then there's more in the background. And I'm really deciding, like, do I want to draw all of it? Or do I just want a line that shows that there's stuff in the background? I can always come back if I want more detail. Then there's a line over here from that wall. And then actually there's here, talking about perspective, there's something here in the foreground, which I really like to include, and I kept it without color. I did that on purpose because that will give just a little bit of extra dimension or something. There's a door here. Well, can't see much else except for I like that lamp. And look at that. I already have quite a bit of a drawing here that describes this place. I'm now really looking at shadows. And then there's stuff going on in the background. But, you know, maybe I can just indicate that by doing a few marks. This is quite dark, so I'm just going to fill that all in. There's two, so those two people stand out a little bit more. Okay, I like it. I'm starting to like this. Of course, there's a lot of texture on the wall as well. I'm still thinking how to capture that. First, I want to fill a bit more details. There's like details here that I kind of like, but I'm not going to even try and capture like the whole thing. I'm just mark making, looking at a little bit of the shadow, kind of losing my train of thought here, which happens if you are drawing. And then, yeah, I could draw all those lines, but I'm not going to because I think that will be really confusing. I do like the lines over here. So I'm going to, again, not accurately doing this. I'm not counting like all the bits and pieces and parts. When I draw a building, I would never count windows. I'm just not accurate like that. And I think it's not important either because it's really about describing a place rather than perfectly depicting the architectural piece, because that would be disappointing. I could never do that. Then I'll just take a picture. I can take pictures. Okay. I think because I added these dark tones, I put some more emphasis on these on the gate itself, and now I just really want to start playing a little bit more. So there's dark here too, and maybe we need a little bit more of clarity about where the street ends and where this building starts. And then I also love using repetition in my drawings, so I can definitely add those I don't know the word for it, poles, street thingies, doesn't matter. And that also is an interesting challenge to understand or to capture perspective, because they are in perspective and closer to you. And you can just simply draw like a line with a dot on top, or you can do it very accurately and try to capture the shape of these elements. It's really up to you. Whatever you feel like is important to describe this place. Okay. I'm rushing a little bit through it, but actually I think that that brings life to the drawing as well, so I don't really mind that. so much. Okay, I think we need a little bit more here because this is like too vague right now. What's going on here? So there's part of a building in the background there, and then this is sort of, yeah, this is connected. I'm really allowing myself to be sloppy because I want to do this in a certain time frame, and so I know that I can't do a perfect drawing or a perfect demo, and that is not what it's about. It's really about having fun drawing. So maybe that would actually be a good way of looking at your drawing practice. Give yourself time restraints so that you have an excuse to make imperfect drawings. And that's the perfection of imperfection, right? To really allow yourself to mess around and to enjoy, and instead of like beating yourself up because you don't understand the perspective or that you didn't capture it accurately or anything like that. I think this is enough of narration, so to say. I think I'll go back now with my watercolors, because I do think that this, oh, and of course the car. First, let's draw that car, because I'm not good at drawing cars, but that doesn't mean that I should avoid drawing them, because then I'll never get better, right? So, just dive in and do it, and then with every wonky car that you draw, you'll get a little bit better. Although that's what I hope. At least. There's a person behind this, but it's too small. Maybe the sign, I like that, because that really gives that urban feeling to it. There's a sign here too that's sort of folded over. Well, and there's these gates as well, but I just didn't draw them because I didn't want to bother. And because it's kind of no fun, like gates. And this is a gate already, so. Okay, what I'm missing now is a little bit of texture here, and some of that nice shading that we see. So I still have a little bit of my gray here, and I'm just going to draw that, paint that drop shadow in that I see here. Maybe add a little bit here. And then there's a drop shadow here that's very distinct, and here as well. And yeah, it becomes a little bit green. I don't mind. You can mix like a different kind of gray if you want to, but I just like using whatever is on my palette because it's there, and then I can work quickly. And also then the colors are sort of in the same family, which can give like a nice feeling of unity. I'm not touching that background anymore because that's the background. I am going to fill a little bit more here so that it's clear that this is part of the building, and maybe here too, just to bring it to the front a little bit more. And something to always remind yourself of when you are working with watercolors, they dry up lighter, a little bit lighter than how they look when you put them on the paper. So that's good to know. Yeah, more shadow here in the back. And then let's give these people a little bit of drop shadow. And the car. Okay, I think that's not bad at all. Oh, and also there are telephone or electrical wires, but I'm not going to draw them. That would be too confusing in this drawing. If I would make a larger drawing, I probably would add some, but yeah, no. For this smaller drawing, I think that would only confuse things and muddy things up. I do want to add a little bit of a pop of red here and there. That might actually do it. And what else? Oh yes, I will mix a little bit of brown through my already mixed mixture and just see if I can, with the side of my brush, I can bring in a little bit more texture there. And not everywhere, just the suggestion of it, so that it is clear that there's things going on here. And you don't have to draw everything to describe it in a way that's clear. Okay, my camera stopped for just a sec, and so I added this and this, and now I picked up a little bit of gray with a little bit of extra brown to it, and I'm just going to flick just a tiny bit here and there, and maybe also on the street, to give a bit of an extra texture. And I could go on forever, to be honest, but I think this already is really a nice interpretation, my interpretation of the Victoria Gates. This is a drawing that I would be happy with if I would have been sitting there in the streets and I would be ready to get a Maltese coffee. Okay.
Thank you so much, Koosje. That was so fun. Really fun.
You're so welcome. I was like, okay, bring me that coffee now. And oh, the magical power, or what did you say? Like the superpower? It's just babbling until the paint has dried. Didn't you notice that? I was like babbling until the paint was kind of damp. So that's the superpower.
Great. Yeah, it is a superpower. That was super fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Petra is saying thank you so much, so inspiring. Susan says thank you so much, great demonstration. It was a great demonstration. It's really great just to see that you can, you know, do it really quickly just by slapping some color down and drawing on top, and not getting too worried about the details. A really great trick if you don't have a lot of time. And I'm a long sketcher. I tend to take a long time, an hour, hour and a half for sure. So the only way I can really speed it up for myself is if I'm doing a much smaller subject. But that's a really good method.
Yeah, and you know, everybody has their own pace, and one isn't better than the other. But I do think that often people think that they do need like a full hour or more to do something that makes sense, but you can be like quick, and I think it helps to have a thick pen, you know, like a little bit of a bolder line so that you can't go into detail.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for coming. I just want to let you know about our upcoming workshops. We've got some great, exciting workshops coming up in September. Pat Southern Pierce is going to be with us in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Canada. Hazel Sohn will be with us in Florence in September. And of course, Koosje Koene in Malta. And we still have a handful of tickets, and we would love it if you could join us. That's going to be in November. Stephanie Bauer will be with us in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico in February. Brian Jernigan is going to be with us also in February in San Miguel. And Alex Hilkerts will be in the Hilltop Villages of Provence in April. And lots of more exciting workshops in the making, in the works, as they say. So
excellent.
Thank you, Koosje, so much for this generous demo. And Koosje has I think there's another demo on the Studio 56 for Creative's YouTube channel, and an interview as well. So if you want to, if you just can't get enough of Koosje, go to the YouTube channel, and you'll see her there. And
of course, buy my book, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
and her
plugging
book.
that.
Yeah, her lovely book. I mentioned at the beginning. I did.
I know. Yes. No, but I saw a few comments here, people who were saying that they like the book, and well, it's really great to look through the comments. Thanks everybody for attending.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week and happy sketching, and take care. And I hope to see you guys in Malta, all of you. All
Yes.
of you, everyone in this
Come
call.
with us. Come with us to Malta. We'll just,
Have
invade
a
the
blast.
place.
Oh yeah, we'll have a blast. It'll be so fun. All right, thank you, Koosje. Thanks so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.
Thanks, Brenda. Bye.